All right. What is up? What is up, YouTube family? It is K right here. Yeah, let me know if you guys can hear me. I want to say that I'm live right now. So, yeah, what's going on, guys? It has been a while. And yeah, man, I wanted to give my post-fight thoughts for Shakur Stevenson versus Artem Harudnian. And yeah, talk about the Golden Boy fight card with the homie Giovanni Cabrera going up against William Zepeda. Yeah, man, pretty good fights. I was pretty shocked with the robberies that have happened. I guess if anything, we'll just start from the Golden Boy fight card, and then we'll just work our way up. And then, if you guys want to hop in, for those of you that are family, please let me know in the comment section. I'll try to get everything put together, and I'll just put the link for you guys. But yeah, man, let's talk about the fight card with William Zepeda versus Giovanni Cabrera. Yeah, this was a decent fight card. I'm only going to talk about a couple fights. Let's talk about Mr. I was going to talk about Danny Luna, but I think Luna, he's a good fighter, but I need to see more out of him. Let's talk about Manny Flores. Well, actually, he didn't really have a tough opponent, but he just got a third round KO. He did pretty decent. I know Manny, he's not fighting nobody, supremely, good yet, but I think I would still need to see more from him. But I think Manny, he's a good fighter. He's definitely seasoned, heading into his natural weight class at 130. Didn't like the opponent. I mean, the opponent was okay. He was a Venezuelan dude, Nohel Arambulet. He had a winning record, but most of his competition isn't really the best competition. So I would probably say it's a pretty decent resume. I know, he is, in his prime, and he has a good positive record, but I feel like this opponent could have been somebody way better. I think Manny at 130 can definitely make noise. He needs to fight, tougher level names, and I think he'll be fine. But yeah, he definitely looks a little bit drained at 122, and I think 130 is a perfect weight class for him. And yeah, he just did his thing, man. He went out there and he performed. And I have to say, Manny, he's a very good fighter. I just want to see him grow with tougher names. And I think Golden Boy should not be the place to, a place to be to just try to grow your fighting style. Just simply because I just don't think Golden Boy is moving the proper matchmaking. And even though that people may say well, he's still growing, but I don't think so. I think at this stage, he's turning into a world title contender. But sooner than later, he will face difficult names, and I think that the styles of his opposition can be a lot better improved if he were to fight common names at 130. Personally, knowing that it may be a little bit too early to even call for this fight, but I personally like to see a fight between him and Raymond Ford. Or honestly, I personally wouldn't even mind, that the homie Ofacio Falcon, he could definitely give Manny a tough fight. But yeah, Manny at 130, there's plenty of great names at this weight class that he can go after. I think Manny has a really good ceiling at 130, and even though that he may be at that point within his career where he might need to take it easy with fighting some of these guys, but I don't really think there's anything holding him back. I think he'll be fair game with guys Ramon Cardenas, which I personally know him. He's a good fighter. But yeah, that's a great fight to make one day. Elijah Pierce, that's an insanely good fighter. John Rio Casamero, I think that's a very, very good fight. He should go after him, knock him out. Luis Neri, that's a very, very good fight. Or MJ, Moro Dejan Akhmadaliev. Yeah, there's plenty of great names in this weight class, and I think he should really go after all these guys. Jose Tito Sanchez, go for, yeah, just go after all of them. But yeah, Manny Flores did good. I want to see his competition scaled up a lot higher. So yeah, let's talk about the next fight. We got Mr. Joshua Garcia getting a 6-round majority decision victory over some Filipino dude by the name of Jason Buena Obra. This fight, I didn't think Joshua won. I feel like that there needs to be a rematch in place because I felt like this Filipino dude definitely gave him work. And I think Joshua, he can fight. Don't get it twisted. I just think that fight deserves a split decision victory for the Filipino guy. Like, I might have to go back and rewatch it, but I just think Joshua, he's a good fighter. Don't get it twisted, but I definitely need to see a rematch with that Filipino guy because I don't think the Filipino guy lost. I thought he was putting a lot of work on Joshua, and it was a tough, rugged fight. But shout out to Jason Buena Obra. He's a good fighter, man. Obviously Joshua, he's growing in his career, but that's what you need to do to be a good fighter. And I don't think it's bad for me to say that Jason should get a rematch with Joshua, and Joshua should keep fighting tougher opposition to put himself in higher competitive rankings, so he could be ready for those top level opposition in the future. But yeah, I just think Joshua, he's definitely green in certain departments. His defense definitely needs to be scaled a little bit better. He needs to work better on his footwork. His counterpunching reflex ability needs to be upscaled a lot better. He needs to start jabbing to the body a lot more. He needs to stop headhunting, and he needs to also motion in his jabs a lot more, moderate. He shouldn't be just going for that one big punch and trying to put himself in a bigger threat where he could potentially get knocked out, because he leaves himself wide open in certain exchanges where a lot of guys that do have power, they usually end up leaving themselves wide open for heavy loaded exchanges. And I think Joshua, like many other young fighters, they care so much about getting their get back. And I think with him fighting, not let the best oppositional opponents, that will put himself in a much harder, position to win. So if he wants to be better, he needs to start fighting competition that's going to scale him and get his skills right, so he can know basically he can know what to focus on, and then throughout time he'll develop those skills to be ready for top level opposition. But either way, this is a good fight to get his flaws exposed, and I think him and Jason should definitely get a part 2 going. But yeah, that was a good fight. Yeah, let's talk about, Gael Cabrera. He's a good fighter. I like him a lot. He reminds me of a really young version of I'd probably say maybe, I don't even know. I'll probably even put him next to maybe man, he gives me Edwin Valero type vibes, but he also gives me a lot of Johnny Tapia inside fighting. He has a really, really good style. I really like what he likes to do on the inside. As far as defense wise, he's not super duper there yet, but he definitely knows how to box. He really knows how to box. He is really that type of dude where he's very committed to using his jab early and trying to gain, proper distance and being educated for those big shots. And he's not your typical Mexican fighter where he just tries to go in and fights super duper brawl for it all, rock 'em sock 'em robot type of fighting style. He fights pretty calm, very collected, and he's definitely going to be making a lot of noise in the future. As far as where things may go, where he will be in the future, it's going to be telling because I think where it stands at 130, I personally don't mind seeing him in, Manny Flores in the future. I really want to see Carmel Mountain versus Manny, like yeah, Manuel Flores, and then Gael Cabrera could fight him one day. Or like honestly, I really don't mind any top 100, 130 pound fighter. He's a good fighter. Gael Cabrera, he can fight, man. Even though he's 19 years old, but yeah, mark my words, he's a very, very good fighter. But yeah, that's pretty much it with him. Yeah, let's talk about the co-main and then the main event. I'm not going to talk about Pedro Campa. He did his thing up against Alex Martin, but I think Alex Martin, man, I like Alex Martin a lot just simply because, like I'm a good friends with Miguel Cruz, and Miguel Cruz fought him 2 times, and Alex Martin, he's a very, very good fighter, man. PBC brought him up right. And, he just has a lot of great skills, but I just think it's time for him to hang it up, man. I don't like to be that type of guy to say that to certain guys, that I'm like a really big fan of. But I just say, just based off of what I see out of how Alex is performing, he's just not putting himself, at a higher level. And I think it would be better to see him, just hang it up. But either way, if he still wants to continue his career, then I'm all for it, man. Because he's a very good fighter. He should have been deserved his big fight opportunities in the past. But yeah, Alex Martin, he's definitely a very, very good skilled fighter, man. So wherever his career may go, even if he gets some really big wins somewhere down the road, I'm definitely all for it, man. So shout out to Alex Martin. He's a good fighter, man. But yeah, Pedro Campa, he definitely performed a lot better because comparable to the Teofimo Lopez loss, I felt like he just didn't look right, and his body wasn't really performing well to let the bigger shots. But either way, I don't think Pedro Campa was really ever going to get up to a high level because he seemed to be developing with lower level competition. I'm sorry, I could be wrong, but Pedro is a very limited type of fighter, so I think his style has suited him up against lower tier opposition. And that's nothing to be disrespectful. It's just he could have done a lot better if he had put himself with better opposition early, and then he would have been better to be ready for those bigger names. But either way, I guess we'll see where Pedro will go. But it's going to be interesting to see how he's going to grow. Yeah, let's talk about the co-main: Ricardo Sandoval versus Angel Tito Acosta out of Boriken, aka Puerto Rico. Yeah, Ricardo, I personally did not like the stoppage. I felt like the stoppage was very weak. It was very, very stupid for this fight to be stopped in the 10th round. I thought Angel was doing good in this fight, and I thought Angel could have definitely won this fight. I just think Angel, as far as his defense goes, he definitely needs to be more technically savvy on the mid-range to, I'd probably say inside, because, with him getting older, I'm not saying Angel, he can't fight well on the inside. He can fight educated on the inside. It's just in certain cases, he likes to get into those type of fights where, he's being put into a bigger, a bigger position of where, he wants to be, first with his opposition. And I think, that's what kind of insinuates his nature of him getting hurt in certain fights where he's getting into the firefights. So I think Angel, he's a very, very good fighter. I felt like this fight should have never been stopped. I think this fight was a close fight. I didn't really think Ricardo was doing much to really win, but I felt like Angel, he did his thing, looking at the scorecards, if they are up, actually no, the scorecards are not even there. Dang, man. Yeah, but I'm probably gonna try to Yeah. Yeah, it was actually 85-86 actually, according to like the fan scorecards up on BoxRec. But I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch the fight. But yeah, I would definitely say Ricardo probably got that victory by like a slim margin. Or if anything, Angel definitely should have won this fight. So yeah, shout out to Angel. You know, he's a good fighter, man. I got mad respect for him. I guess we'll just see where he goes because he's a very very good fighter, man. Former world champion at the WBO, and he just tries to give it all, give it all he has, But yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see where things will go with him. So yeah, let's talk about the main event. We're gonna talk about William Zepeda defeating Mr. Giovanni Cabrera. And I have to say, Giovanni Cabrera, he's like the homie, but I didn't expect him to really be good with the durability with Willie. I was thinking he could outbox him. I wasn't thinking that Willie was going to be outboxed for too long, and I thought Willie was going to catch up to him, in which he did. And yeah, he absolutely did his thing. So I just think that just shows what type of fighter he really is, and I think that just shows a lot of levels that Willie does have. But I think as far as Gio's game plan coming into the fight, it didn't seem like he wasn't being smart. He was trying to pick some good shots with him, and then Willie caught him with some big leveled shots, and he just outdogged him. So yeah, shout out to both guys. I think Willie is a very good fighter. He just needs to be in there with the top level names, because I think the problem with Willie is that people are trying to gaslight him too much to say he's good, he can do this, but people need to stop putting themselves in that position to give him this type of confidence to say that he can win up against these top names. But the truth is that when it comes to a guy like Shakur Stevenson, he didn't come to the table to go ahead and fight him. And I think what Willie's trying to do is that he's either trying to hold his spot to try to get a vacant title at the world title level, and then he'll fight everybody, or he's just going to try to become champion and just hold on to a belt and then try to move up. So I don't know what Willie's really doing with his career. I would not like to say he could be ducking people, but then again, I'll probably throw that onto him, because if you didn't want to fight Shakur Stevenson when Shakur Stevenson was calling to fight you without the WBC mandates for title contention, then I think what should have happened is that William Zepeda should have went out of his way to try fighting Isaac Pitbull Cruz or Keyshawn Davis or even Dennis Baranchik. I think Willie, if anything, he's pretty high at 135. If anything, to my knowledge, I know that he should be at a good spot right now. I'm actually looking online right now for the 135-pound division. Yep, right here. William Zepeda. He is number one in 3 sanctioned bodies. If not, actually, no. Yeah, he is number one in all 3 sanctioned bodies. So, what's going to happen, Willie? I don't know what's going to happen, but Floyd Schofield's right behind you in the WBA, so I don't even know if he's going to fight Gervonta Tank Davis, but I think Tank is probably going to end up fighting, Vasily Lomachenko, which I actually have some good news. I heard some pretty good news that Lomachenko supposedly is going to push forward to try to get a fight deal signed with Gervonta Tank Davis. So I'm hoping Tank is not playing any games with Vasily Lomachenko on the business side. I don't even want to think Lomachenko's doing that, on his end. But I think what's going to end up happening is that Vasily Lomachenko, if he is to accept this fight with Gervonta Tank Davis, This is going to be a very, very good fight. And then on top of that, William Zepeda, if he really wants to go after a top champion, well, any of the top guys, I think what's going to end up happening is that William Zepeda is going to go for the WBO. Vasily and Gervonta theoretically could fight each other next. Shakur Stevenson could either fight Dennis Peranchik to unify because it's on Top Rank, but then on top of that, Bob Arum's going to try to play those games to be like, oh no, I don't want to unify, blah blah blah, my champion. Like, I would hope Dennis Peranchik doesn't allow Bob Arum to do that. I would hope Dennis can make the fight and Bob Arum doesn't block it. But let's just say if, in a perfect world setting, Willie goes ahead, knocks out Dennis Peranchik, brings the belt to Golden Boy. Shakur Stevenson, he's already left with Top Rank. If anything, Shakur can just go straight to Tank. Or if anything, Shakur could just defend his title again up against a guy like Raymond Murataya or William Zepeda or even Keyshawn Davis, which I don't think Keyshawn's going to, want to fight Shakur, which makes no sense. But yeah, if anything, I think William Zepeda, he needs to stop thinking that he's not going to fight the best competition and he's just going to duck his way to the top. Willie needs to, grow his, grow his, I'm not even going to say it, but he needs to grow some manhood in him, and he needs to just go ahead and fight any of these champions, because you're number one in every single sanction, buddy. There should be no reason why you shouldn't even be going after at least Dennis Peranchik, because that's your easiest fight, at the top of this, tree, or at the top of the mountain. Shakur Stevenson and Gervonta Davis and Vasily Lomachenko, those are definitely stylistic nightmares for Willie. But I think Willie, if he commits himself really good in those fights, he could, he could definitely be game at the division. But I guess we'll just find out where he's really gonna go. But yeah, I like to see Willie go up against any of them. He shouldn't just be waiting for the right opportunity to just try to clip some easy champion that that he could beat up. So yeah, good job, Willie. I just want to see him fight against the best. So I think it's time for people to stop hyping up William Zepeda, and he needs to grow some manhood in him to go fight tougher opposition. So yeah, let's get away with that, and let's talk about Shakur Stevenson fight with Artem Hararutnian. Yeah, so with Shakur Stevenson, pretty decent fight card. I'll probably talk about pretty much most of these fights. So yeah, let me talk about Kelvin Davis versus Kevin Johnson. For those of you that don't know who Kevin Johnson is, if I'm not mistaken, this guy was the guy that was being floated around through social media, where he was sparring with Devin Haney and Gervonta Davis, and he's not the greatest fighter out there. He's he's very limited, but he has a good track record with how he fights, and I actually know who he is now because I'm now seeing his face and certain channels that I saw him get interviewed for. But yeah, Kevin did a good, decent job. He's not the greatest fighter out there, but he gives it his best shot to try to be the best that he can be. This fight was a little bit hard to score with Kelvin. I thought Kelvin did enough to win. I didn't really see Kevin really win. Kelvin put in work, and he did his thing. And yeah, great fight. I definitely need to go out to Pro Box, whenever I do have the chance. If Kelvin ever pulls up one day, if he ever gets fights out there. But I definitely like to see Kelvin Davis up against top opposition at 147. I think he's ready for those guys. I don't really care if he wins or loses. It's just more I think Kelvin, he's growing into a really good fighter. And some really good fights I like to see on the table. He can really take out a good load of these guys at welterweight. But Why not Fabian Maidana? That's a good fight. Frodis Rojas, I would love to see that fight. Gabriel Maestre, he could easily knock him out. And I wouldn't mind Derek Cuevas. That's a good fight, actually. I think Derek Cuevas is actually a very good opponent. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see where things will go, because Kelvin, he's in a really good position right now. So I think where things will go, it's gonna be quite a interesting journey to see where he's gonna put himself in. But personally, I want to see him up against some good level opposition, and I don't mind any guy at the top 50. You could fight Nicholas Flaws. You could fight Obvious Griffin. He's a good fighter. He's out of Tennessee. Blair Cobbs. I like that fight. Abel Ramos. Yeah, you could fight a lot of these guys. Isaac Lucero. I actually like that fight. He could fight. He definitely got some good, good skills. But yeah, go after any of these guys. Gore Yeritsan. That's the Armenian dude. He has some good skills. Yeah, go after any of these guys. Michael McKinson, Gabriel Valenzuela. I definitely like that fight. Igas Kavalauskas, that's a very good fight. Or even Alexis Roca, Raul Coriel. Yeah, there's plenty of great guys that are coming up at the welterweight division. The welterweight division is the glory division, and 140 is the boot camp to the welterweight division. So, welterweight division, lightweight, heavyweight, and definitely 154. Those are the mega, big money divisions. And I'd probably say 168. After Canelo's done, and then you get some new superstars. But yeah, Kelvin Davis, he's definitely ready for all the top dudes at 147, man. So yeah, give them all. So yeah, let's talk about the next fight. We got Keith Colon out of New Jersey, baby. aka Brick City. He knocked out Hunter Turbyfield, a guy with 5 fights, if I'm not mistaken. He was 4-1 coming into the fight. Well, actually, no, he was actually 3-1. But yeah, he had over 4 fights, and he fought Carmel Martin before he got stopped by Keith Colon. So yeah, he did his thing. Good effort. I like everything out of him. I think Keith Colon, he's going all the way, man. He's definitely undisputed material, and he's just really, really good, man. He really puts in a lot of great work, and he just does this thing, man. So I have to say, shout out to Keith Colon. You are going all the way to the top, man. So yeah, definitely keep your eye out on him. He's going to be a monster at 126 and above. Don't forget that. I can't wait till he gets up to that level at 126 and 130 and above. I think Keith is just ready for everybody. So yeah, definitely keep your eyes out on him. He has a lot of skill, and he's just super gifted, man. So yeah, let's talk about the next fight. The Dominican dude, Erickson Garcia, getting a good comeback win against William Foster III. I was kind of surprised that Willie actually lost this fight, but I really wasn't, because I think the problem that I tend to see with him is that he leaves himself pretty open to lose a lot of trades. And, good enough with him is he has a great resume. He beat Misael Lopez, Avery Sparrow. He beat Edwin De Los Santos, that everybody likes to put him, on the high horse for. But it just kind of just shows styles do make fights, and certain fighters will bring the best out of you and basically give you a tough match. And Willie, he's a good fighter. He has good skill. The problem with him is that he needs to just work on his defense, work on his footwork, and work on his I'd probably say his reflexes. I think his reflex game needs to be worked on, and just making sure he's being put in a better position to win, certain trades. So I think fundamentally, he will get it right. He just needs to keep improving. But yeah, that was a good fight. Erickson outboxed him, and it was a good fight to watch. I like how Erickson Garcia made those adjustments from his last performance Yeah. Hold on, yeah, doesn't. Wait, hold on. Okay. Hello, hello. Okay. All right. All right, got it. Okay, got it. I think I'm on. Hello, hello. Okay. Okay, okay. All right. So yeah, back to what I was saying. That fight was actually supposed to be on the Daniel Bailey versus Edward Vasquez fight card, and yeah, that was a good, decent card. That was a good fight, and yeah, good enough. Erickson Garcia, he's not turning away from the tough opposition. So yeah, very, 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 very good. Good improved fighter. So definitely like to see where he's gonna go. But I don't think he's going to the top. I think like a lot of dudes are gonna knock him out at 130 because he just doesn't possess with the proper skill set defensively to actually put himself at a higher level. But I guess we'll just see where that will put him in. But yeah, let's talk about the last couple fights and then we'll be out of here. Abdullah Mason versus Luis LeBron. I really wasn't too surprised with this fight. I mean, don't get it twisted. I like Luis, good fighter. I got my love for his for his fighting style. He's very, very good fighter. Problem with Luis is that he never fought at 135 ever. He's always fought at 130, and he did debut at like 132, but I think 135 is just not his weight class. I think it would have been better to see him, stay at 130. But either way, like it's nothing to be mad about. Like I will say, even in his like last two fights, he actually fought at 140 and 137. So I mean, if anything, he pretty much did what he did, and he's actually, pretty good at 135. He is big for the division. So, I guess, we'll just see where things will go. So, yeah, he has a good resume. Fought Henry Marshall LeBron. And, he fought some really, really good fighters, man. So, yeah, I guess, we'll just see where things go. I mean, I definitely think he's a very, very good fighter. So, I guess we'll just see where his skill sets will go, but yeah, I don't think he's really out of the woods at 135. So I'd say to probably come back, it would be good to probably see him up there with maybe some like good level guys, maybe like Adrian Rodriguez, or if we're really talking about anybody at the lightweight division that has a good skill set that can be matched with them. I mean, he could go knock out this Abel Mendoza guy. He's 40-0, and he hasn't fought anybody good. He's just kind of like waiting for his, Cinderella opportunity to fight some, some opposition. But yeah, you could you can definitely knock him out and get him out the way. But yeah, knock out this 40-0 guy. But I think eventually somebody will knock him out. So, but I actually want to make Artem Federutnian. That's a very, very good fight. Or he could fight Alejandro Paulino. He's a really tough Dominican dude. He could definitely fight. Yeah, definitely take your time with it. I actually even wouldn't mind Joseph Adorno. That's actually a very good fight. He could definitely take him down. But yeah, I guess we'll just see what happens. And actually, Joseph Adorno, he's actually fighting. He's fighting like another opponent that's like 13 or 14. Pablo Oliverto. Yeah, it's just not good, man. Like I don't like that, man. But yeah, I guess we'll just see what happens, man. It's just not really something to really be happy for. But I guess we'll just see where things will go with Joseph. But yeah, that was a good fight with Abdullah. Abdullah gave Luis a lot of heavy hands, and he did his thing. Yeah, next fight, Keyshawn Davis defeating Miguel Madueno. It was a good fight. Keyshawn Davis looked average, not really like the best fighter out there, but he gave that man like a huge beating. So Miguel Madueno should have never been in that position. It should have been Justin Aldo. I felt like Aldo beat him. He barely won that fight, and I'd say if anything, he actually lost that fight, in my honest opinion. But yeah, Miguel, he can fight, man. He's not no slouch. It's just like he just comes one way, and really, if anything, if you look at his previous opposition, he hasn't really been fighting anybody good. Like, I mean, that's just like a common flaw that a lot of fighters do. Once they step up the competition just like a little bit after facing facing low level opposition, it's just like you don't really keep upgrading. You kind of just go back to like your bad habits of fighting lower tier guys. But I guess it's just really due to like how you develop yourself. I mean, he had some good victories. He beat some good, decent level guys here and there. But leading up to today's resume, I mean, last 5 fights, Keyshawn Davis, you got outboxed and you lost. Justin Paldo, you barely won. And Steve Claggett, he beat you like 9 rounds to 1 or at least 10 zip. Yeah, I mean his style is just not. It's not style. It's not more correctly for him to be green at 135. But I guess he needs to work on his skills. Like, if he works better on his skills, he could very well knock these guys out at lightweight. He does have like a lot of power, but the problem with him is like he doesn't work on his fundamentals. When you work on his fundamentals, then you'll be fine. But I guess we'll just find out, man. We'll just find out. But yeah, good fight for Keyshawn. That was like a good little stay busy fight. I felt like Justin Paldo definitely would have gave him way more problems compared to Miguel Madueno stylistically. All right, next fight, Robson Conceição defeating O'Shaquie Foster. This fight, I was super, super upset. I should have even talked about like the female fight with, I already did talk about it with Yamileth Mercado and Rama Ali. But this fight was way worse. This is like one of like the biggest rivalries in boxing. Robson Conceição, no disrespect, but you are not a world championship level fighter. You were never a world champion, and you will never be a world champion. And I say that because he this guy never deserved to have a world title at all. Yeah, people like to say Conceição is a good fighter, and I don't think so. If we even go back from like the Louis Coria fight, I thought Louis Coria was pretty much the worst beatdown the worst beating that he had ever taken in his career. And the crazy thing about it is like Louis Coria, he's not like the best fighter defensively, but he's good enough to like the point where he actually like beat the living crap out of him. And if he had beat him, he would have put himself in position to probably face Oscar Valdez. Who knows? But yeah, Louis Coria, he should have won that fight, and he got rocked. So I think that the reason why this happens is because he's an Olympian, and Olympic fighters usually get political protectionism because you have like the bigger backing, you have like the bigger name, and it's just terrible because it's like these type of fighters get this type of protection all the time, and then I think that's really crappy for the sport. But yeah, Robson Conceição, he's not a good fighter. Ever since then, after he got that rapid decision over him, Oscar Valdez, I thought he won that fight, but he did a good job in that fight. He did, very good, up against Xavier Martinez, which that was a good fight. Xavier, I don't even know what's going on with him, but he just does not perform the way that people think he does, and he's definitely he definitely put himself from being once a promising fighter to just being like a complete hype job. And I mean, that's just simply because of his discipline. I would probably say that, he just doesn't seem to be that type of dude where he's really like putting himself up against good competition. And good enough, he got knocked out by Andres Cortez, but I guess we'll just see where he goes. I don't know where he'll really go, but it just doesn't seem to me like he's really focused. But I guess we'll just see what happens. Yeah, but as far as that, after he won that, he fought Shakur Stevenson, and obviously Shakur didn't make weight, but Shakur he just beat the living crap out of him, and he just absolutely styled on him. And then once you go from that to Nicholas Polanco, which that fight doesn't really count. That was just like no decision on headbutts. But you go from that, you fight Emmanuel Navarrete, which I don't understand how you get like another title shot after losing to Shakur Stevenson. I think it was simply because Brazil does not have many boxing world champions, and knowing that Brazil has had like a first world champion in a while. Let me take a look at this. I don't think Brazil has ever had any boxing world champion, but if Conceição is one of the very first, then that will be quite interesting. Yeah, I just don't know. Yeah, I wanna say that there was definitely some other fighters from from Brazil. This Edu Joffre, Acelino Freitas, Everton Lopez, Mike Carvalho. Yeah, I mean, it's okay. I mean, he's just not good in my honest opinion. So, yeah, Conceição, he did not win that fight. And if you look at his track record, he was given pretty much a robbery decision from Louis Correa, and then you fight Valdez, which you should have won that fight. But then, he did good with Xavier Martinez. You beat him, you outpointed him, and then Shakur beat you in a second world title shot, opportunity. And then, Emmanuel Navarrete, I thought Navarrete beat the living crap out of him. I didn't see Conceição really win that fight. But then in a fourth opportunity, you just somehow get a split decision victory over O'Shaquie Foster. So yeah, it's just all boxing political corruption. He is not a world champion, and he knows it. And I like to see that fight be ran back. I think O'Shaquie will just beat the living crap out of him and just knock him out. But I mean, that's just how corrupt boxing really is, man. So it's going to be interesting to see where things will go, but I'm definitely not looking forward to it because that's just terrible, man. O'Shaquie, he's a very, very good fighter. And shout out to Coach Bobby Benton and shout out to the whole team. But O'Shaquie Foster should have got that fight, unified the division, and then we wouldn't be talking in this position. So yeah, let's talk about the main event, and then I'll get up out of here. Shakur Stevenson versus Artem Harutyunyan. This was an absolute barn burner. It's like a barn burner domination for Shakur Stevenson. Shakur didn't really look that good. He just kind of did his thing, and he just beat him up for 12 rounds. Good fight. I mean, I like to see him up against, the top names. I think, if anything, he should really go ahead and try to unify the titles. But like I said about Gervonta Tank Davis, if Gervonta Tank Davis is supposedly going to be fighting Vasyl Lomachenko next, I don't mind it. But what do you do if you're Shakur Stevenson standing at 135 right now? I think the best opportunity for you is to go ahead and try to get that Dennis Baranchyk fight if Bob Arum does not tie you into another contract. I don't think he should re-sign with Top Rank. He's technically done with Top Rank because he just had his last fight on his contract. So that fight with Artem Harutyunyan was not supposed to be like another fight after that to be the Top Rank. So he's technically done with them. So I would say what the court should end up doing, he should fight William Zepeda. He should fight him, or I wouldn't mind Raymond Murataya. But I think Zepeda, that's a better fight. You could just fight him, defend your title. But I don't think Zepeda, wants to fight him. Personally, maybe if anything, if you could try to move up and maybe move back down to 135 to 140, I wouldn't mind Shakur Stevenson taking like a little dab at 140, go up against Pitbull, maybe become his mandatory or something like that. Or I wouldn't mind I wouldn't mind Devin Haney. I think Devin Haney, that's a good fight, but I think Shakur should just wait. Wait and see what happens, because if he's able to get a Dennis Baranchyk fight to just get a one-fight deal with Top Rank and then unify, that would be good in a perfect world. But I feel like Bob Arum's going to try to screw him over financially. He's going to say, okay, if you want this belt, you have to, come back to my platform for three, four more fights. And I'm like, no, dude, that's just crazy. But I think that's what Bob Arum will do, because Bob Arum's a very, he's a very scandalous individual when it comes to trying to keep his fighters on a promotional stable. So I like to think Shakur, he should probably go ahead and put himself in a better position, and I think he'll be better off by trying to wait this out. Because let's just say if Gervonta Aloma fights next, if they're able to not have any, promotional issues to get that fight set up, I want to see Shakur fight Dennis Baranchyk, because that just makes perfect sense. If Tank and Loma are fighting next, Shakur should go ahead and fight Dennis. Get that fight out the way if Bob Arum's not going to play, promoter politics with you. And then after that, if you're able to beat Dennis, you could go ahead, bring those belts to a different promotion to fight Gervonta Tank Davis. Because Tank, if he has 2 belts and you have 2 belts, you could both fight each other, and then the winner can fight the mandatory between Raymond Murataya and William Zepeda, which I feel like Raymond Murataya should fight William Zepeda, because that makes perfect sense, and that's a good stylistic matchup. But even Zaur Abdulwalov, he should definitely be in the mix too. So, yeah. Let me know what you guys think. That's pretty much my... And I want to get this out the way for you guys, because I have a lot on my mind. So, yeah. Thank you guys, and I think that's pretty much it. I will stop right there. So, yeah, I will see you guys later. Be sure to share the content, do what you got to do. Here's the outro for you guys. Much love to you guys, and yeah, I'll see you guys. Shout out to the family, and here's the outro, guys. Thank you guys for watching this really good episode. I got more content coming out for you guys, gaming-wise and other stuff, so thank you very much. I'll see you guys later. Here's the outro. Peace out, and goodbye.